Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to the committee for inviting me to join this prestigious conference by the School of Strategic and Global Studies, University of Indonesia. In 2011, I was involved in a research project sponsored by European Union together with three colleagues from France and the Netherlands. Our research was on counter-terrorism strategies in Algeria, Saudi Arabia, and Indonesia. So basically we compare city strategies in these three countries using the model applied by the European Union. That is to measure how the city strategies by those three countries are seen from the model by the European Union. That is, there are four dimensions of counter-terrorism strategies. First is the response, the dimension of response, and then pursue and prevent and protect. Yes. I mean, the balance between these four dimensions applied by the countries. And the most interesting one is that our conclusion from this is that Indonesia is one of the most successful countries in the world in tackling the threat of Islamist radicalism and terrorism. Especially if we compare with Algeria and Saudi Arabia. We understand indeed that Saudi Arabia deploy very comprehensive strategies in dealing with radicalism and terrorism. The state-driven strategy. The state applies a comprehensive strategy, sponsors all efforts to counter those threats. Algeria was not quite impressive, but they still apply sort of repressive approach towards radicalism and terrorism. Indonesia is considered as the most successful. It's not because of its comprehensive strategy. We understand that Indonesia applies sort of ad hoc strategy. The counter-terrorism strategy of Indonesia was not comprehensive at all. Yeah, the government did not even introduce a kind of grand strategy of countering radicalism and terrorism. But how was it possible for Indonesia to become one of the most successful countries in the world in tackling radicalism and terrorism? The evidence for this claim is that if you look at the trends of frequency of terrorist attacks, if we compare like the first period, let's say from 2000 till 2010, we understand at the time, the lot of big-scale terrorist attack occurred in Indonesia. The first Bali bombing, the second Bali bombing, Marriott bombing, the bombing in Jakarta near Australia, Negeri, and other cities of Indonesia. At the time we envisioned Indonesia to be like probably Afghanistan or Iraq. Yes, it is from 2000 till 2010, but we follow the trends actually from in the second period from 2000, let's say 2000 till today. The frequency of the terrorist attacks in the big scale has decreased significantly. Over the last 9 years, we haven't seen any more such a big terrorist attacks like the Bali bombing. Again, the question was, what was the key success of Indonesia in tackling the threat of radicalism and terrorism, despite its limitation in deploying strategies in countering those three? And the answer is like this actually. The key success of Indonesia is because the involvement of civil society organization and different group of community in the war against terrorism. You know, learning from the weaknesses of Indonesian city efforts, the government indeed welcomed the initiative in involvement of civil society organization. The role of Indonesian civil society organization, Muslim civil society organization, is really decisive actually, since it has direct grassroots connection with society, and we understand in Indonesia, you know, there are two largest Muslim organization, civil society organization. Maybe only Indonesia in the world, in the Muslim country, that has such kind of strong civil society organization. That is the Nahdlatul Ulama and the Muhammadiyah. We still have some smaller civil society Muslim organization, but the biggest one are of course the two organizations. Nahdlatul Ulama, you know, is an organization for traditionalist Muslims. Yeah, it is confusing term actually. If we refer to what is actually traditional Muslims, traditional Muslim because they still practice like, you know, selamatan. Selamatan is religious gathering in village to commemorate the death of one family, for instance, having meals and reciting some part of the Quran and so on, while expecting the arrival of spiritual beings joining the Selamatan. That is the Nahdlatul Ulama. And Nahdlatul Ulama claims to have about more than 70 million of membership. You can imagine 70 million of membership. And Nahdlatul Ulama also has thousands of pesantren, traditional Islamic schools, led by Kiai, traditional ulama in Java. Each pesantren has thousands of students. In big pesantren in Java, in East Java, Central Java, you know, sometimes they have like 10,000 students. And the pesantren are fair to be like small kingdoms. People near the pesantren respect very much the pesantren, and the Kiai indeed appear to be like, you know, a king, local king. It's very interesting. And then the Muhammadiyah is, in contrast to the Nahdlatul Ulama, it is an organization for modernist Muslims, like Protestant and Christianity. Muhammadiyah has, I don't know, the membership, maybe about 30 million or 50 million, we don't know exactly the number. But they are very active in organizing thousands of schools, modern type of schools, orphanage, hospital. They have hospital all over Indonesia, and also universities. Muhammadiyah University are probably, I don't know, maybe hundreds of Muhammadiyah University scattered all over Indonesia. So this is the point that I want to highlight. First of all, is that the role of civil society organization, especially the Nahdlatul Ulama and the Muhammadiyah, is very significant. Nahdlatul Ulama's profile and activities are quite identical to the Kiai and pesantren. You know, the Kiai and the pesantrens, they develop sort of cultural mechanism to protect themselves from the influence of Islamist radicalism and terrorism. Because, you know, when they feel under threats by Islamist radicalism and terrorism, they react naturally against that threat. Because they believe if they keep idle and did nothing to protect themselves from the attack, and then probably their privilege and also their access to the society will become decreased. I try to follow the practice and also the attempts made by the Nahdlatul Ulama to counter the threat of Islamist radicalism and terrorism. And then it goes back to 2005. Before, from 2000 till 2005, actually, either Nahdlatul Ulama or Muhammadiyah, they did not, give significant response to the threat of radicalism and terrorism, because at the time there was still sort of hesitation against radicalism and terrorism. I mean, some believe that it was created by some, conspiratory agents that tried to disturb Indonesia, or it was still, related to the New Order and so on. That's why there was kind of hesitation. But after the Bali bombing, Muslims in Indonesia become aware of the real threat of Islamist radicalism and terrorism. MO works very hard, first of all, to legitimize the radical and jihadist ideology by emphasizing the discourse of Islam as rahmatan lil alamin, Islam as mercy for the universe. It is the term coined by the Nahdlatul Ulama to distinguish themselves from strict version promulgated by radical and terrorist groups. Our Islam is different from their Islam. Their Islam is imbued with violence, imbued with radicalism and so on. But our Islam is quite peaceful. Our Islam is Islam which is accommodative toward local cultures. Islam which can go hand in hand with the state norms like multiculturalism, citizenship, and so on and so forth. While emphasizing the discourse of Islam as rahmatan lil alamin, they also glorify the nationalistic rhetorics related to the state ideology of the Pancasila. They claim, Islam, when it is practiced properly, it is exactly the same as the main message of the Pancasila. So supporting Pancasila means supporting Islam, or supporting the true Islam, Islam rahmatan Islamin, means supporting the Pancasila. Islam and Pancasila cannot be separated each other. And the Nahdlatul Ulama insisted that Pancasila has been accepted as a common ground for Indonesians to live in harmony as a nation. And Islam rahmatan lil alamin here is perceived to be Islam embedded in the archipelagic culture as a result of the dynamic interaction, acculturation, contextualization, in indigenization between Islam and local tradition. So over the last 10 years, we are becoming quite familiar with the term of Islam Nusantara, Islam in the archipelago. And when we call the term Islam Nusantara, it is actually quite identical to Nahdlatul Ulama or Islam rahmatan lil alamin. Muhammadiyah sometimes protested again the term. Why is it Islam Nusantara? Because for the Muhammadiyah, they said that, I explain first what is Islam Nusantara. Islam Nusantara is actually Islam introduced by the 19th in Java, Wali Songo, the first promoters of Islam, who emphasized the necessity to apply cultural approach to introduce Islam among Indonesia. So Islam Nusantara upholds 4 pillars of the Indonesian nation state, including Pancasila, Undang-Undang Dasar 1945, Indonesian Constitution, Negara Kesatuan Republik Indonesia, Republic of Indonesia, and then Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, yes, diversity, unity in diversity. Inherent in Islam Nusantara is its openness towards citizenship, gender equality, religious freedom, democracy, cultural diversity, local wisdom, and human rights. And within this context, the Nahdlatul Ulama also developed 4 models of human relationship. The first, Ukhuwah Nahdiyah, inter-brotherhood, solidarity among membership of the Muhammadiyah and Nahdlatul Ulama, and then national brotherhood, solidarity among fellow nation, and then Ukhuwah Islamiyah, solidarity among Muslims, and then the last one, Ukhuwah Insaniyah. They emphasize this one, the last one, Ukhuwah Insaniyah. What is that? Solidarity and brotherhood within the context of humanity. So we are under the brotherhood umbrella as a human being, with regardless of our ethnicity, regardless of our religion, and so on and so forth. And also they try to delegitimize the claims made by radical and terrorist organizations when they refer to certain Quranic verses to support their ideological claims. So the Nahdlatul Ulama was persistent in explaining the true meanings of some Quranic verses that has been misused and misinterpreted by radical and terrorist organization. And interestingly, perhaps, the Nahdlatul Ulama has so many, what is that, underbow organization. They are the biggest one, you know, the umbrella organization, but under the Nahdlatul Ulama, you have thousands of pesantren, but you have also hundreds of similar organizations attached directly to Nahdlatul Ulama. Scattered all over Banser, for instance, Barisan Ansor, yeah, but kind of paramilitary, but in a positive sense, yes, paramilitary organization of Nahdlatul Ulama. They have large Pasda, Lembaga Kajian Pengembangan Sumber Daya Manusia. They have Wahid Institute, affiliated to former President Abdul Rahman Wahid, and so on and so forth. Also at the provincial and regional level. So this network of the Nahdlatul Ulama works well to campaign for Islam as Rahmatan lil Alamin. Recently, they moved online. This morning we heard one presentation. They also established nuonline.org.id, and also they established alif.org.id, yes, in order to disseminate Islam Rahmatan lil Alamin. And then the NU's modernist counterpart, the Muhammadiyah, has played equally a significant role in disseminating a moderate understanding of Islam. But they call it Islam berkemajuan. Yeah, they do not want to use the term Islam Nusantara because Muhammadiyah, Nahdlatul Ulama has long been in competition with each other. You know, they do not see each other. Of course, Islam berkemajuan is progressive Islam, Islam which is inspired by the thought of Muslim reformers, Muhammad Abduh and Rashid Ridha, that accept modern progress and modern science and technology as the prerequisite to venture to global war. Of course, there are some difficulties in Muhammadiyah encountering Islamist radicalism and terrorism because, you know, ideologically there are some affinities between Muhammadiyah and radical organization, like the Salafi actually, for instance, because Muhammadiyah is developing Puritan, strict version of Islam. They do not accept local practices, traditional practices among Muslims. So there are some ideological affinity. But Muhammadiyah emphasized, although we reject kind of bid'ah, heretical innovation in religion, but we cannot accept any violent interpretation of Islam. So any kind of interpretation that promote violence and radicalism. That is in contrast to Muhammadiyah basic ideology according to Muhammadiyah leaders. So Muhammadiyah works well as well through the university network, through the school network, through the smaller organization under Muhammadiyah networks and activists scattered all over Indonesia. But the last part of my presentation is I want to explain as well the role of civil society or community, religion-based community, is not limited to Muhammadiyah and Nahdlatul Ulama. There is one more significant thing, that is Muslim villages who are not necessarily affiliated to Muhammadiyah or Nahdlatul Ulama, but they develop their own counter-terrorism strategy. I mean, their own resilience, cultural resilience against radicalism and terrorism. In 2010, I conducted research in Central Java, in Muntilan, in one particular village. When I was there in 2001, I saw a great deal of success of Salafi groups to expand to that Abangan village. Abangan is nominal Muslim village, you know. In Muntilan, I returned in 2010. What happened in that village? What happened in that village? What changed in that village? In my first impression is that the Salafism somehow succeeded in transforming the villagers into Salafi, because they become quite active in attending pengajian religious session. They become quite active in demonstrating their religious symbols like jilbab, veil among women, for instance. But when I go deeper to understand what motivates them to be more active in religious activities, is not because of their amazed by their affiliation to Salafi radical ideology, but rather that is the way the villagers, response to Salafism, the way the villagers oppose the Salafism. Because like this, like they like as if they were telling to the Salafis that you should not come to our village to tell us about true Islam, because we are already good Muslims. We are practicing our religion. So why should you come to our village? In 2001, in my first visit, the Salafis could conduct door-to-door da'wah activism. They came door-to-door to persuade people to join Salafism. But in 2010, when I came back there, they could no longer approach people, persuade people using door-to-door da'wah activities, because the villagers already rejected that. And also, at the same time, they intensify their traditional activities, like berjanji, reciting dhikr, verses of the Quran, like singing, and they frame that activities in the selamatan, calling the arwah, the spirit, to join. This is, according to them, our way to resist against the Salafis. And then the second one, that is strong evidence. When I did my dissertation, I also conducted research in Dieng Plateau in Central Java. One particular village in Dieng Plateau, it is called Kepakisan. Yeah, not so far from Banjarnegara. Yeah. It is very interesting that that village, half population of the Kepakisan transform themselves into Salafis, wearing jalabia, Arab flowing robes, let their beards grow long, and the women wore niqab. It was unbelievable actually, because that village previously was identical to communism. Red area, maybe some of you understand red area. The regions considers to be imbued with communist remnants, so become the target of the new order. How could this red village, communist village, transform into the Salafi village? 30 people from the Pakistan went to the Moluccas to join Laskar Jihad, to fight jihad in that island. That is why I was interested in conducting research there. So I understand actually at the time the key success of the Salafis to expand their very existence to that particular Abangan village was the support from from the village head, and also some businessmen in that village. The village head, Pak Supoyo, was appointed by the order to be a new village head, Kepala Desa, in that particular village. But New Order did not only appoint him to be village head, but also allow him to develop what is that? Horticultura, sayur mayur, vegetables plantation in a large scale, with the modal, with the investment from some people in Jakarta and other cities. So Pak Supoyo became like hero among the villagers. He could transform the village into not only later on to be Salafi village, but also first of all to be like prosperous village. But I returned again in 2015 together with my students. My student conducted his research entitled Political Economy of Salafism in Rural Java. The thesis, master thesis, has been published by Mizan Publishing House. Very excellent thesis, master thesis actually. When we return to Pakistan, what happened actually? The Salafis, they still exist, but in a very insignificant condition, very small. It is in contrast to 2001. The Salafis become cornered, only several houses that still belong to the Salafis. And then I try to understand what happened in that village, because the villagers of the Pakistan resist culturally against the Salafi. They develop cultural mechanism. They intensify traditional activities, traditional ceremonies in order to tell the Salafis about their incompatibility with the Salafi version of Islam. So it worked well. So the artifact actually, at the same time also Pak Poyo, who was sponsoring the expansion of Salafism, passed away in 2002. So the success of the Salafis was because of the existing existence of political, economic, social and cultural configuration, the supportive political, economic, social and cultural configuration. That is the key success. But also the loss of the Salafis in that particular village was also determined by the changing political, economic, social and cultural configuration. When there is no support, cultural support, political support, economic support, Salafis could not maintain their very existence in that particular village. So what I want to emphasize in this presentation is that we cannot simply, rely on the big strategy, city strategy that we design, sitting on the hotel like this, for instance, and then as if we know how to transform the society, how to protect society from the threat of radicalism and terrorism. We are to, what is that? Sombong, what is that? Arrogant. We are too arrogant. We design the project as if we know everything. No, to my opinion, based on my research, villagers, local people, communities in Indonesia, they know their best how to counter radicalism and terrorism. They develop their own capacity to resist again, to challenge or to respond against radicalism and terrorism. Don't underestimate the villagers. Don't underestimate the community resilience. This is actually the message that we got from the research that I have conducted actually. I'm actually not sure when the state developed very comprehensive counter-terrorism strategy, financing all the effort to counter terrorism, for instance, from the top to down, state driven, everything under the control of the state. I'm not sure Indonesia, when applies such a comprehensive strategy, could successfully counter the threat of Islamic radicalism and terrorism. So this is, I repeat, the key success of Indonesia in countering terrorism and radicalism. Thank you very much.